Hello everyone, welcome back to US Healthcare Academy. Guys, today I have a surprise for you. So, what I thought is I will start a parallel series along with the electronic data interchange series that is going on. I'll start a parallel series on clinical sections. So, welcome to the introduction to clinical sections. So guys, what is clinical sections or clinical data? So clinical data is nothing but the data that is stored into EHR system, and this data is very specific to EHR system, and it is recorded into EHR system by providers like doctors and nurse practitioners. This data has infinite or thousands of use cases into different applications. So the reason why I want to introduce you all to the clinical data is because uh, once you understand the clinical data, there are a lot of opportunities, where you can make your career. Like this data is used into merit-based incentive payment system, HEDIS. It is also used into pharmaceutical companies, like to identify the patients for clinical trials. So, and then there are many more use cases. So let's jump into it. So first of all, what is encounter? Encounter is basically, let me tell you a story. So when patient visits the doctor, patient will tell the doctor about their problem, their symptoms, and doctor will come to a conclusion by ordering a lab test or by ordering a imaging or something, and or without that, if it is a simple flu or something, so he'll come to a conclusion. That means it's a diagnosis, and then to cure that, he will uh, do a certain procedure. So even talking to the patient is a procedure, guys. Everything that a doctor does. So when doctor and patient are face to face, and when doctor is asking about the symptoms and everything, even if he's giving an injection, giving that injection is also a procedure. So, like this 15 to 20 minutes visit to the doctor is called as office visit. And this office visit is also a procedure, which is represented by HCPCS code or CPT or ICD-PCS. We'll look into that later in this video. Uh, so basically, doctor prescribes some medications. Yeah, and as I told you that if uh, some tests are required, then he will also do a lab order. So all these things which happens during that visit is called an encounter. An encounter contains all this data. Okay, let's move ahead. So second is vitals. So what is vitals? Vitals comprises of blood pressure, and blood pressure comprises of systolic and diastolic blood pressure, which is systolic means the upper range, diastolic means the lower range, heart rate, respiratory rate, temperature, height, weight, BMI, waist circumference. All this is part of vitals. Now, remember, guys, when suppose a doctor is recording somebody's blood pressure in the system, okay, uh, and the data has to be standard, right? There are some coding standards that are used. So to record this vitals like BP, heart rate, systolic, diastolic blood pressure, these are the line codes. So doctor won't just record in free text saying that, oh, systolic blood pressure 120, diastolic blood pressure 80. No, he will say 8480-6, value 120. 8462-4, which means diastolic blood pressure value 80. So, the codes are standard. It's a way to standardize the data, guys, because this data, as I told you downstream, it is used into a lot of use cases, And that's the reason for each and every uh, you can say clinical section there is coding standards. So remember, LOINC is for it's not just for vitals, it is also for lab observations. So basically, whatever results come back, uh, like hemoglobin. So hemoglobin will have its own LOINC code, and then the value 11 or 12, whatever the value is, you know. All right. So let's move on to encounter procedures. So, what is encounter procedures? So, encounter procedures, as I told you, it's nothing but whatever doctor does. So, may it be an operation, a surgery, or giving an injection, or even just talking to the patient and consulting for 15-20 minutes. Even that is a procedure. And these procedure codes are represented by HCPCS codes, which is Healthcare Procedural Coding System, CPT, which is Common Procedural Terminology, and ICD-PCS, which is International Classification of Disease Procedure Coding System. ICD-PCS is not used a lot to represent procedures, but HCPCS and CPTs are two coding standards that are mostly used to represent a procedure. All right, let's move on to encounter diagnosis. So basically, what are encounter diagnosis? Encounter diagnosis is uh, the illness that you get diagnosed with. So it is nothing but the condition that you're suffering from. Uh, and those diagnoses are documented on an encounter. So basically, those are finding of a particular encounter, and that's why we are calling them encounter diagnoses. And they are represented by ICD-CM codes. uh, Problems. Problems are again diagnosis, but they are not specific to any encounter. Those are all the past diagnoses, your all the past, that's all your past medical history, like problems that you're suffering from. Those are documented into problem section. Medication request. So basically, when doctor writes a prescription in the EHR system, that data is saved into medication request. And medications are represented by RX norm codes, okay, NDC and GPI. GPI is Global Product Identifier, NDC is National Drug Code. NDC is very much company specific, so whoever is manufacturing that medicine, even the same medicine having the same content but manufactured by another company will have a different NDC codes. But the normalization, and that's why it is called RX norm. Norm means normalization. So normalization of this NDC codes is called RX norm code. So RX norm, uh, one medication like which has same content, the strength, and the form, these three together, it will make an RX norm code. Okay, so it will have, so any paracetamol tablet 50 mg, so 50 mg is the power, so it will have one RX norm code. But any one of these changes like paracetamol tablet 100 mg, the RX norm code will change. Okay, hope that's clear. Medication dispense is nothing but the actual when the medications are dispensed, when the pharmacy gives the patient the medications, that data is in medication dispense. Orders. There are several types of orders, guys, but most famous ones that will deal with are lab orders, medication orders, imaging orders, procedure orders, referral orders, etc. So it's quite self-explanatory. Lab order is nothing but when you want to order some kind of blood test or any test, you put a lab order in the EHR system, and somebody from the laboratory gets the order and they come to pick up the specimen. That's the procedure. Medication order is again when you send an e-prescription to the pharmacy, that is called as medication order. Imaging order, example CT scan or an X-ray, so that's an imaging order. Procedure order, so somebody's hospitalized and if a doctor wants to order a procedure like some surgery or something, he can put a procedure order in the system. Referral order, self-explanatory. When, a primary care physician, if he wants to refer you to the specialist, he will put a referral order in the EHR system. Observation or results, mostly lab results. And again, those are, once the laboratory completes the test and everything, they will send the result to the EHR system through HL7 standard, and EHR system will be able to uh, ingest that record. So uh, when the exchange of information happens, it is mostly done through HL7. There's other interoperability format called as FIRE, but those are altogether a different topic. So we'll learn about that as well, but in our later series. So plan of care. Plan of care is a section where doctor documents, patient's plan of care. Like if you have gone through a major surgery, you had a broken bone, and there's some plates fixed into your leg. So there will be a plan of care in the system, like what are the treatment goals and objectives, or what intervention and therapies you would need, like a physiotherapy or something, medication management, like what medications you will take and how they're going to change. So all that medication management information will be in plan of care. Your diagnostic and procedures. So, after a few days, if you have a follow-up and some diagnosis, uh, some procedure needs to be performed, even that will be included in the plan of care. All the follow-ups and monitoring schedule will also be in plan of care. So I hope that is clear. Plan of care mostly, it's a mix of free text and you can use standard codings as well. Uh, Social history. Social history is mostly all the information about the patient, all the social information like his family information, his education, his occupation, cultural and religious background. But I mean, honestly, all this it is important. But the use cases that I was talking about, like MIPS or HEDIS or uh, patient identification for clinical trials, mostly what data we are interested in is his smoking history, his alcohol usage, drugs. Yeah, so those are the things that we are interested in, and all this information can also be represented by something called a SNOMED code. Okay, it is SNOMED, CT. All right. Those codes actually tell his smoking history, if he's a current smoker and he's a heavy smoker or light smoker, you know, alcohol, if he, what's the kind of intake, if it is mild or it is heavy or pinch drinker. So all that information is represented by something called as SNOMED code. Last section is notes are free text notes. Okay, so those notes, there are different types of notes. Uh, Discharge summary, operative notes, procedure notes, progress notes. So this is all free text uh, data, guys. So this is not really structured. This is free text, and uh, as the technology is advancing and we are able to leverage the power of LLM, it is becoming very, popular to use this free text data, because a lot of information that is sometimes not found in the lab results or in the structured format, like in the procedures or the diagnosis, that information can be extracted from this free text notes. And that is the reason, uh, you know nowadays it's becoming very popular to extract information from notes and leverage it for a lot of use cases. So, guys, with that, we are done with the clinical sections. I'm sorry, I think I missed this one. Yeah, just wanted to show you the SNOMED codes for alcohol. So this is a SNOMED code for alcohol use. This is for tobacco use, and it can be different, guys. Not necessarily it will be one, because depending on the frequency, and the intake. There are different SNOMED codes for different social history. All right. So guys, I hope this is clear. In our upcoming videos, what I'll do is I'll dive into each and every section of this, and we will see how this data is structured and saved in the EHR system. So we'll go through some fields, some core fields that are part of this clinical sections. All right, guys, until next time, you guys take care. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.